Guys, take a look at this. This car is now running and driving. Thing sounds so good. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. On today's episode, we're gonna go ahead and get everything as far as the radiators, the coolers, and everything else back into this vehicle. Hopefully we can get this suspension back on, knocked out on this episode as well, and we can get this thing at least rolling so we can bring it into the shop. Let's go ahead and get started. Look at that, we got one of our radiators finally in. Now let's go ahead and get all of these hoses, connections, all these brackets down here below, all of them all connected. I mean, we got power steering lines, coolant lines that need to be connected, all these hoses over here. Let's go ahead and get it all connected, and then we got 2 more radiators to install. Let's get to it. Alrighty guys, and just like that, we got all of our radiators in there. There's the first one right there. That's number 1. You have another one down here. The other one, the condenser behind it. Then you have another, I believe it's like an intercooler or maybe like a power steering cooler as well behind it. Then we also got this one installed, which is the other radiator on this side. And all these hoses, they all feed to each other. So this one goes through the back, comes in through this, goes along the bottom side over here, continues all the way through the other side of the radiator that feeds and connects all these radiators all together basically. A lot of hoses, a lot of brackets, a lot of special clips, but we got everything all put together. Everything's good to go. Now we're gonna go ahead and focus on this suspension, and so that way we can get this thing rolling into the shop. So we got our spindle over here with our brake calipers and everything else. We're gonna have to transfer everything from the old one to the new spindle with the new hub, and then put it all back together onto this right here. So let's go ahead and get everything started. So we went ahead and got the whole entire suspension put back together on the AMG GT over here, got the brakes out here and everything. Now we got to go ahead and bleed them. Just being us by myself over here right now, I got a pretty cool tool that we use. It's called a Motive Power Bleeder, and they sell this kit. You can get the adapters for European vehicles or whatnot. It goes right here to your master cylinder, screws in, you put brake fluid on here, and you guys will go ahead and see how this works. You pump it up, it keeps pressure on there with the vacuum pressure on there, and that way you don't need to have an additional person that keeps having to pump the brakes. So we're gonna go ahead and start from the right rear, work our way around and get this thing bled, and then that's one step closer to getting it back and driving back into the shop at least. So let's go ahead and get started. Alrighty guys, take a look at this. We now have the wheel on. Even though it's bent, we got new wheels coming in for it. Got all the brakes bled. Everything went really smooth. Thanks to that motive power bleeder right there. Worked really well. All 4 tires and wheels are on there. Now, this car is technically drivable. We got to get a new battery for it. That battery is bad, so we're going to order a battery for it and hopefully get this thing rolling and driving, running and driving basically. So got our funnel over here. This thing has 2 radiators, so we got our coolant over here. It's the pink fluid from Mercedes-Benz, and then distilled water, half and half. So let's go ahead and start filling this coolant up. We'll start with this system and keep pouring till it doesn't accept. Let it run, and then burp the system as well as that one at the same time. So we got everything on here all hooked up. The car is running. We got the heater up on the heat position on high. Everything else is running. So we're just gonna go ahead and check the temperature to make sure it gets up to temp. And then we'll go from there. Everything else is going good. It obviously sucked in a little bit, so we're gonna go ahead and fill some more up and keep going. Guys, take a look at this. This car is now running and driving. Thing sounds so good. We got it moving on its own feet. Let's go ahead and see what the exhaust on this thing sounds like, guys. Take a look at that gauge and everything. Now, if you go in right there and put it into sports mode.
This one?
Yep.
Sports or Sports Plus?
Sports Plus.
And rev it?
Yep, and then rev it. It changes everything totally.
Woo!
What'd you say?
I said this is going to be my daily, right?
She said this is going to be her daily. Do it one. Wow. So what do you think? Thumbs up? So we got the car up on the lift. Just going underneath it to make sure everything is good. We did see a little bit of a oil leak right here between the transmission. It looks like the transaxle or rear differential. The transmission on these cars are actually mounted all the way in the back over here. You know, that way it has the 50-50 weight distribution, so it's not from the transmission or anything like that. It looks like it's all from up front. Now, there is a recall on some of these Mercedes, like the carbon fiber drive shafts. Also, I believe the rear main seal is tied to that, because I believe you got to remove all this just to get to the drive shaft. I'm not too sure. I got to remove all this covers first to verify, but it is also a dry sump engine, so it could be just from the car sitting there. I was sitting there for about a year at the auction. It's not a whole lot. It's just a couple drips that were on the floor, and as you can see just right there, there's just a little bit that's coming out. So it could just be excess that's, you know, from a dry sump engine, how it's just sitting in the rear main seal against the seal. We'll keep an eye on it, and we'll find out to see if the recall even has a situation that will cover this. So
Yeah, because isn't it like, if I point between, it's like leaking through that
that is the starter. Yep.
Yeah.
So the starter mounts to the side of the engine there. Now we're going to pull this inspection cover out. If I get that screwdriver and pop this out, if there's a lot of oil in here, we'll know. So we got the inspection cover off. It's bone dry. Obviously, this is oil from my hands from touching all that stuff, but this was bone dry inside. Take a look inside here. I don't know if the camera really sees it. Get in a little bit closer. There's the carbon fiber drive shaft. You can kind of see the weaves if you come out a little bit back towards me. There you go. That's the carbon fiber drive shaft. So the drive shaft is actually in there. I'm guessing if they do the recall, obviously this whole thing has to come off. So maybe that's covered under the recall if it is bad. We'll find out. We'll just call the dealership, give them the VIN number, and find out for sure. There is one more inspection plate cover, it looks like, on this side. So we'll pull this panel out, some of the shielding right here, and check that one. But yeah, there's no oil coming out of that at all. And I mean, it's dry in there and everything. So if you come from this angle and shine this way with the flashlight, you'll actually see the flywheel and everything too. If you get in a little closer, yeah, that's the flywheel. You can see how it says AMG right on there. So everything's dry in there.
It's clean.
Yeah. So we're just wiping all this stuff down right here just to make sure. You know, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, lower the car back down, start it up, and see where the oil exactly is coming from, if there is a whole lot of oil actually coming or not. And that way it'll give us a clear, you know, area to see exactly what really is going on. Because I pulled the inspection plates off, I pulled the covers off right here. I mean, there's no oil or nothing in there. It's bone dry. So it could just be for the dry sump. But this car, while we had it up in the air, we found out that this car also has downpipes. And that must mean it's tuned, because you can't run downpipes without it. And we're going to find out more about it. I'm going to try to hopefully get in contact with the owner and find out what it's got to it. But if it's got downpipes, I'm thinking it's got probably a Eurocharge tune, a DME tune, something like that. And we'll find out for sure.
Oh yeah, you could just tell by the way it sounds.
It's loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's obnoxiously loud.
Yeah, and it doesn't rev up like any normal AMG GT. It revs up real quick.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and lower this down. That should be good enough for this. You can shine right in there. While the motor's running, you can see it spinning.
Oh yeah.
If you zoom in, you can get the engine like flywheel and whatnot in it too. Looks like we do have a slight seepage from in between that transaxle or rear differential mount to the engine block. And same with it on this side. So let's just keep letting it run for a little bit and keep wiping it down and kind of take an eye on it and see if it stops, if there's just a lot of it in there from it sitting with the dry sump engine. If not, regardless, we're going to take it in to go get looked at anyway. Alright guys, so we got everything put together on the car. As far as all our radiators go and whatnot, I mean, all these radiators that are down over here, we got them all together. There's no leaks at all, thank God, because that would be a nightmare to put everything, take it back all apart again, go through it and whatnot. We got everything filled with the Mercedes-Benz pink stuff in there. Nothing blew up on us. The fans kicked on. The car came on all 4 feet, or wheels, or tires, or whatever you would say. Wheels, yep. Came inside the shop.
That was the most exciting part.
That was the exciting part.
Was getting it started and getting it rolling.
When you're buying a vehicle, I mean, it's a big gamble. I mean, you're spending a lot of money buying it. You don't know if it's running. You don't know if it's driving. We got also the airbags in.
If it's in-op.
Yeah, and it's an in-op, so you don't know what could be happening. The whole underneath could be cracked for all you know, and it's just running through.
Well, we're not that reckless.
Yeah, so, I mean, we make calculated risks here. It's not for everyone. Don't just go out there and start buying in-ops if you're not experienced with this. I've been doing this for a really long time. But yeah, we got everything sorted. Next step on this whole thing would be to put the front end back together, get it inside the paint booth, get it all painted and blended in. Then we got wheels, tires, and all the fun stuff.
And then we'll got to take it for a recall.
Yep, if the recall, we'll go ahead and take care of that. If not, then we'll go ahead and do it ourselves. We got so much done on this car. We're going to go ahead and get everything put together on the front end, hopefully in the next video. But if you like what you saw, smash that thumbs up button, subscribe, comment, tell us what you thought. Give us some pointers, give us some tips if you know anything about that leak or the recall or whatnot like that. But guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.